Hi there! Lately I've been very much into portrait or skin tone palettes. I've been using these inside my Hahnemühle 100% cotton sketchbook. The first one that I've tried out was the modified Zorn palette by Evie Draws, who's also here on YouTube. And after that I tried out the Holbein spring set to mix a couple of portrait skin tones. And then I used some of the leftover gouache paint to paint over a watercolor portrait that didn't turn out so well. And it got me thinking about which of my existing paints I could use next. I bought these Horadam Naturals last year, and you can find a full review on my channel. I own 10 of these colors, which you can see here. And I've also used them before to paint a portrait of Luke Skywalker, so I know that they work for skin tones. Keeping the Zorn palette in mind, I wanted to limit myself to a white, a yellow, a red and a black color from my 10 paints. The closest that you can get to a white is the Rugen chalk. The typical Zorn palette uses yellow ochre, and Schmincke has one from the Naturals set, but I don't actually own it, and for the first time in my life I did not buy a new art supply. Instead, I went with Kamala, which I already own. I own 2 reds, Dragon's Blood and Meadow Lake, so I tried them in a little swatch chart just to see which one I would like better for portraits. And lastly, for my black, I decided between the Graphite Black and the Vine Black. The choice was relatively easy because the Vine Black granulates rather heavily, and I don't want this for my portrait painting. I already showed this painting in my previous video, and I mentioned how the likeness was not too good, so I wanted to paint this particular model again. I'm flipping from the back of my sketchbook forward because there's something on the first page that I want to paint there that I just haven't made any progress with, so it's sort of mentally blocking the first pages for me. So skipping forward, I have the new sketch here, as well as my color swatches. Since I wanted to decide between using Dragon's Blood or Meadow Lake, I tried both of them here. In the end, I felt that the Dragon's Blood is ground more roughly and the Meadow Lake is a bit finer. And I also prefer the way that the Meadow Lake mixes with the Graphite Black for an almost purplish brown. Later on, I also added some Indigofera to the painting, but these 4 colors here, the Rugen Chalk, Kamala, Meadow Lake and Graphite Black, are my main colors for this painting. I'm always super self-conscious about sketching, because I take ages to get to a point where I feel comfortable and confident with the lines that I have, especially if I'm trying to capture someone's likeness. So I just left in some of the construction lines for you, but I'm sorry that I did not show the preceding 2 hours or so of trying to get this sketch right. Once I was ready to start painting, I removed my construction lines, cleaned up some of the other lines, and then I used a kneaded eraser to lighten all of the lines before going in with my watercolors. Now, the painting process was actually a little bit frustrating at times. This paper usually does not allow lifting of paint, and that has helped me quite a bit in the past when using gouache. But the Horadam Naturals actually lift quite a bit even on this paper, and I struggled to build up layers without disturbing the paint underneath. These paints also have a bit of a gel-like consistency and are prone to streaking, as well as generally being a bit more grainy or having a rougher pigment texture than other paints. When I used these before, I was working on Saunders Waterford gold pressed paper, and the paper helped me spread the paint a little bit and combat the streakiness, but here it was more apparent. and especially her cheeks are a lot streakier than what I would normally try to achieve in a portrait painting. But with all of this being said, I love the result. I love the outcome of this painting because it looks very coherent and natural. I particularly love the way the graphite black looks, especially when it's mixed with the metal lake. It turns into this almost purplish dark brown, and that looks really soft and nice. I really like this in her eyes because it makes them look really soft. If you like the way that these paints look and how this painting turned out, please just really go and watch a review of these paints before you buy them, because they're kind of expensive and they're not for everyone because of the consistency. I've seen these in one of the art regrets videos that some YouTubers have published recently about which art supplies they didn't like. So please just make sure that you will like them before you spend a lot of money on them. I personally like them, but it's highly dependent on the paper. I don't have that much more to say about this painting process. You will see me bring in the Indigofera when I'm painting her hair, but that is basically it for this limited Zorn Palette-inspired painting with Horadam Naturals. For the rest of this video, please just enjoy a bit of music. Thank you for watching and see you next time. Bye.